In late November, I inherited a home and was in the process of clearing out what was left of the estate of my great aunt, who had passed away, when I stumbled upon a very odd DVD of an obscure show. The box was badly damaged, but the disc was in perfect condition. The mystery had piqued my interest, so I loaded up on my DVD player to check it out, and there was no problem with starting the DVD, except for the black screen, which only lasted 30 seconds. After the screen went to black, the text says, Sammy the cat. Slowly roll over the screen, followed by the year 2019 in a smaller font. And this was dumbfounding because my great aunt passed away in 2020 and we were only recently granted access to her estate. I'm told that many of these DVDs were watched by a child who would babysit when she still lived at home. She was at the nursing home from 2017 till she's passed. After the title card, the screen quickly faded to white. The white fades into a shot of a lightly furnished, most empty room with a door to the left. Rather quickly, a large cat entered the frame. This cat was prominently white, but has black patches and spots. And the screen was very blurry, so it's really hard to make out. But it appears to be some kind of a person in a cat costume. As it turns out, I noticed the large cheeks, googly eyes, and stitches in front of a portion of his body. The odd proportion of the costume led me to believe it to be homemade. After turning around, the cat proceeds to stare in the direction of the camera for what felt like minutes until again the screen went to white, which lasted for a solid minute. After a few minutes of a white screen, the costume man is seen eating from the bowl, a bowl of what appears to be raw meat. After emptying the bowl, the man leaves the frame, only returned about 30 seconds. Later, holding a hand of a masked woman, the woman was sad and silent and frozen. And I almost assumed she was unconscious, if not for her footsteps alongside him. The man leads her to the bedside and sat her down. He sat down next to her until he eventually starts to shake. And the shake started to get worse and more aggressive. And the man is now slightly turned away from the woman and is once again sitting completely still. This must have lasted several minutes until he reached back and grabbed the woman by her neck. The woman lets out a blood-curdling scream that was so loud that the camera struggles to pick it up. The man covered his ears and began yelling. The man stood up, also pulling her up violently. The woman was dragged by her neck and then dropped. By this point, my heart is racing. I am confused and in shock at what I have found. This felt too real and unhinged to be some kind of an indie film, but filled with dread. I continued to watch it unfold. Little did I know, however, as soon as I watched it, sooner I wish I would turn it off. After dropping the woman, the man frankly runs through the door to the left of the side of the main room, perhaps a small closet, because his right leg was still sticking out when inside. He shuffles around for about 10 to 20 seconds, until he suddenly turns around to reveal the long-barreled shotgun pointed directly towards the woman. The woman, still blindfolded, sat on the floor, unhingedly silent. There was an overwhelming sense of hopelessness that flows through my body as I watch her exist, completely oblivious to what's pointed at her. She isn't allowed to see it coming. After standing there for a moment, the man lowers the gun and casually walks over to the camera and turns it off. The screen goes dark, and that was the last contents of the DVD. This woman was presumably killed in this scene because it had a gunshot during it, and what followed was the most blood-curdling scream of a woman. The show ended. After the show ended, after a few days of boredom and some hesitation, I decided to report the disc to some local police department. They took it as evidence, but I'd be lying if I said I've heard something back. I became concerned about what had happened to the woman, and I would prefer the closure of knowing rather than the uneasy ignorance that I've been living in for the past few weeks. I've been terrified of something I hoped that wasn't true, but was afraid it might be. It was eating me alive, so yesterday I decided to reach back into the box where I found the original DVD because I knew I haven't looked very thoroughly for the first time. After anxiously searching for about 30 seconds, a convulsive shock is discovered throughout my entire body. And when I see it, to my dismay, I spotted yet another unlabeled damaged disc considered sitting alongside the board of the box. But I couldn't bring myself to touch it, and more or less saw it open it. Ever since then, I've been feeling uneased. I thought about disposing of it so I don't have to deal with it. But I don't want to get rid of something that may potentially be the solution of the case. However, there is more than I thought. Without hesitation, I grabbed the DVD and inserted the damaged disc. I was hoping for more evidence. And there were more the evidence that occurred after the first disc. The disc was broken. It started with a cat again, and he was talking to a 5-year-old boy. He asked about the boy to follow him to the blender that was in a previous disc. Then he picked up the boy and somehow turned him into a smoothie. Then the cat came back to his closet and put a long double-barreled shotgun into the closet, letting out a huge sigh of as though he regretted what he had done. The entire thing was cut, and the DVD ended. I started questioning this show that the fact that the man didn't even put it in a nearby shop for DVDs except for the great aunt's house. I turned off the DVD and took it out my player and reported to the police department again. I shared some evidence with them, and if I may have Many questions after during so upon visiting the PD, I found out that he was already serving time in prison on unrelated charges. They are now investigating the contents of the second DVD of the show. I fear for my life. I had never seen anything unexplainable and weird until now. And to this day, a feeling of dread is always looming over me. I feel like I did something wrong. When I tell people about this moment, they always give me a strange looks and they kept assuming I had a bad nightmare, which I didn't, at least from later events. It was all a nightmare. I'm sorry I shouldn't have prevented it, but due to my curiosity, I wanted to watch the show again because I wanted to know what it's about. Now I'm feeling more guilty for what just happened. Even though I didn't do anything wrong, I was getting tired, so I went to bed, but the show stayed on my mind while I was trying to sleep. Eventually, I drift off. I was trying to go to sleep, but I forgot about what happened today. I started dreaming. This dream started normal at first. I'll share you of my dream. If you call that to me, I call it a nightmare. I was sitting in my chair. My living room was decently furnished, and my TV was running in complete static. And the static ended after about 12 minutes. The old Warner Bros. Logo fashioned onto the screen, revealing Sammy the cat. I knew how this was going to go, but I don't recall seeing a Warner Bros. Logo at the beginning. It was made by Warner Bros. Maybe it was a lost show. I don't know. I continued watching. The episode began with the camera pressed against Sammy's face with the giant fake smile, and I couldn't make out what there were finger holes and eyes they were. The thing I never heard from Sammy was his voice. "Hello there. I would like to talk. Your great aunt deserved to die. I love her. She left me. And when she left me, I was broke. That's why I tried to make my own show to get my money back." The voice was getting closer and closer to the screen. It almost sounded like the whisper into my ear. I began to chill. I began to get chills. I could hold back the tears. Sammy saw me doing this. And then the camera zoomed in on what appears to be the shotgun in his head. I eventually stopped tearing up. Looking blankly at the shotgun, my eyes were now shaking. Sammy pulled the trigger, the bullet hitting the camera and possibly the cameraman as well. As well, I heard the blood currently scream and saw the blood drops with the camera glitching. The TV turned off, and I heard an aggressive knock at the door beside me. I had nowhere to go. I accepted my fate. Sammy barged into my room, holding a sledgehammer. The cat towards me and bashed me with it. I went to sleep, and I'm now unconscious. I finally woke from the nightmare, and I'm happy and I'm alive, with no bruises or anything. I got an idea to call Warner Bros. Because I saw their logo on the TV during that nightmare, so it was appropriate to do so. I dialed the company and asked them if they never heard of the show called Sammy the Cat, or anything related to it. I was met an unexpected response, and they say yes, and much my shock. The guy who plays Sammy was friends with people behind Warner Bros., commonly known to people as the Warners. The shows was in the works, but the workers noticed the man was upset about something. They decided to end production with Sammy the Cat entirely. The Sammy's actor was suffering from schizophrenia, anxiety, and depression. If I'm being honest, I kind of feel bad for him, despite the fact that he was a serial killer. Now, keep in mind, if you call the company and ask about Sammy the Cat, they will try to hide the truth by saying, "No, we don't have a show called that." I have the truth now. We've been on that call for long, so I hung up. And the company's sakes, I don't call the company, ask them about the show. For goodness sakes. And if you're wondering what I'm doing now, I'm feeling down as a person. I have depression. I have anxiety. I don't have the schizophrenia, however. Anyways, thank you for reading. And whoever's reading this, I wanted to get my story out there somewhere. I want you to know, be careful and think before you watch things. If you did start to watch these things, you've been doing that at your own risk.